Are you there, Danetta? I'm not sure. I don't think I can see comments for whatever reason. Well, hopefully you're there. Let's see, what am I going to do first? You wanted to see me making the painted tiles. So, I'm going to just roll out with a stamp. And usually I like to put the clay on top of the tile and then roll it after I spray the stamp. Then I cut the tile out, or cut the tiles from the clay. Okay. And start making my tiles. Okay, I see you. Let me know if I'm like off camera or doing something kind of weird. So here, I'll just make a few of these. For some reason, I can't cut straight with the camera on. Okay. Go ahead and lay these on here. Let me get some of these corners together. This one's not. I'm just kind of cleaning up the edges, trying to make them as clean as I can. Sometimes I don't know if you could see it, but like at a slight angle. So I'm just trying to make them straight so they can, when I make the mosaics, they rest against each other a little cleaner. Okay, that's good enough. They're never perfectly square. They do okay. So, there's some of them. And I've been using these acrylics, FW. And I think that I like the regular colors better than the pearlescent ones. The pearlescent ones to me so far have been really faint, so I haven't really been using them. But I'm sure if I mix them with another one or let them blend together, You can make a comment too. I can see your comments. Pretty much I just put a few drops on here. Okay. And on this end, I'll put a drop over here. And on some of them I'll blend the colors out. And really all this is just that paint. I knew somebody was going to get up as soon as I started doing this. Be quiet, I'm recording something. I mean, not be quiet, but just whatever you say can be used against you in a court of law. What color? Huh? And that's really all there is to the ones that look like glossy ceramic tiles. I just paint this on. And then I don't put them in the oven until the paint is dry. I thought they weren't going through. It has a constant whirly bird. I don't know what that means. Phone hasn't rang for all morning and it decides to ring now. And I always paint the sides of the tiles, and I try to make sure that the paint goes down. Mal rolled out. I rolled out dark magenta clay because it was already conditioned. What color would you use? I always use white for paint. I use white as my base for paint, and then I use black or brown or some other color when I use the mica powders. Because that way in my painting, it's like trying to paint on paper on top of a dark color. So, again, I just went around this one with a little bit of the reddish color, just and you're just letting it get down in those crevices. Oh, it's alive, Melvin. Alive. And that's pretty much it. So, yeah, it's like, I use white because it's like a blank canvas. That's why. What's the other thing? Oh, I wanted to try something. I wanted to try using an embossing folder. When I was at a work of art, Andrea mentioned embossing folder, and I never crossed my mind, but it has a texture. I always miss the stamp, and I never put water on a stencil. So water with it, because if you do it with a stencil, then the paint will seep under. But it's easier just to get a nice clean stamp if you spritz with water. So I roll it out. I don't even make sure that it's completely flat. Usually just flip it over. And then, you know, the embossing folder, it has one side that's indented, one side that's not, and I don't know which one's going to come out better. So I'll just randomly try one side. I've never done this before. I should have spritzed it. Oh, it came out kind of cool. I just didn't roll it over it very well. But it actually came out. It's usable. With water, yes. There's just water in here. I remember when I first got a bunch of mica powders and I was trying to use them over white, and they were so pretty when I painted them. And then when I went to put them in the oven, they faded really bad. So that's when I decided to only do micas on dark colors, and it makes the colors really pop. Let's pick another color. Let's do a pearlescent. And I'm only grabbing warm colors because that's what's near me. Let's see how this does. And maybe mix it with, let it blend with another non-pearlescent color. Yeah, it's almost like the pearlescent ones almost, the clay almost, it's like a resist kind of. One of the things I did notice, is it Bombay, India, the inks, those don't do good. Those don't do, they beat up on top of the clay. So it's these that do really well. Liquitex does good also, but the FW acrylics do the best. Wasn't quite bright enough on this one. And usually when I do two colors, I like to kind of let them blend on their own a little bit. So let them kind of mix up and run. And ease them down. Oops, I kind of overpowered a little too much on that other color. What else do you want to see? Yeah, the Bombays, they didn't work because they, yeah, it beads up right on top of it. What else do you want to see? Again, that's, hopefully you can see it. Anything else you want to see right now? I don't know how close I can get. You can still see them. Two-tone using the same color. Like the aqua one I texted you last night with acrylic paint. I don't think I follow. Two-tone. Oh, that one. That one was because I made some with the stencils, and I didn't like how they came out, so I just balled the paint back up, rolled it out, and then did it again. So that's why it came out two-tone. That was a mistake. But here. I can do it again. So these are the scraps. The scraps from last night. Paint on them. And if I just roll these back up and make basically my scrap clay will have with the white, it's going to make like a really light shade of paint a layer first, then glass over the top. No, I'm not. I think we're talking about the same thing. See, it's kind of marbly. But if I keep blending, it's gonna turn into like a pink color. Are we talking about the same thing? I think we're talking about the same thing. So basically it's made like a pinkish kind of color. It's a little marbly. Out. It's a little marbled. And then to take a stencil over it. Stencil. And you remember, no water when you're doing the stencil. I'm just trying to clean up some of these edges here. And the stencil is stuck to the clay, basically. And then I want to take a similar color, what I used before. I wouldn't use the liquid ones on here. I would use a heavy body would probably be best. Hang on. Remember, it's when you're using a stencil, it's still like using a stencil on paper, so heavy body paint's going to work better and not seep in. I'll go different directions just to get the paint on there, but before I finish, I want to make sure that all the brush strokes are going the same direction, because you can see the brush strokes. I thought I had a heavy body yellow out here. That's orange. I was hoping to do two colors. Oh. I think I This is those paints that Michelle liked, or that she likes. I'm going to go back over the red again, because sometimes the white does shine through. You're on camera, just so you know. Right there. Because the camera, you're in the... Not all of you, but just parts of you. And remember, because you're working with a stencil, either switch brushes or just wipe it off. Don't put it in water. Okay. Now that I'm done, I can put it in water. And then peel the stencil off. Sometimes you have to be careful because it'll pull part of the clay. Of course, it's not going to act right because I have a camera rolling. Yeah, part of it's kind of jacked up, but yeah, you probably want to take a little more time, put a layer on, put another layer on, but when I was removing it, I kind of wiped off part of the purple a little bit. But that's, when you say the two-tone, that's, I was just playing around. That was a mistake that turned into something. And then you can go back and make some tiles. Thing about this is you have to look at your stencils not as the whole design, but just little design elements in the stencil. Because a tile is just made up of just a part of the stencil. Okay, what else? What else can I show you? One of the things I notice when I do the stencils, I have a hard time making them square because the design of the stencil really throws me off. And usually I don't start cutting them until they've dried. And what helps me once they're dry is I flip them over and cut from this side, because then I'm not distracted by the design and I can make straight cuts. Okay. Anything else, or? That actually is pretty with the pearlescent mixed in with the other color. What do you use to seal again? You can use Deco Arts has a varnish. Any varnish will work. But I've just been using the Sculpey Satin Glaze. But hold on, Liquitex had, yeah, hold on. You could use this Liquitex varnish. They have matte, glossy, and satin. I usually use this on my wood frame, and then I use this on my tile. So, and I like satin for both. But you know, it depends. I may try matte in a while. Let me grab the 2 mosaics that I have. So here's the, I think you've seen pictures of these, but these are the last 2 that I did. Not sure if you can see the whole thing. That's one. Here's the other. Yeah, I don't know if you can, I don't think you can see them. Okay, sideways. I have liquefied varnish and Sculpey gloss. We'll get satin. And then for the charms for these, I will make tiles and I'll push in a jump ring. I don't know if you can see that. And I have a few of these where I've baked them in advance, put in a jump ring, and then squirted just a little bit of, oh, what's that adhesive? You can do either the adhesive that they sell, or the translucent liquid Sculpey, or the Weld Bond. I'll put a little bit of it on there, and then I'll just push this ring halfway in, and then bake it like that, and then when I'm ready to make one, I'll just dangle a charm off of it. Sometimes. This one over here doesn't have no charm on this one. Yeah. And then here's another one that I started a couple weeks ago. Sometimes I start with whatever my focal point is, and then this time I didn't have a focal point, so I just started at the bottom and figured I would add that later. I don't think you could see those, but I think you saw enough. Anything else? Yeah, and I'm just now seeing, you couldn't really see the ones that I've done. It's like a 30-second lag. I guess that's it. So next time you have questions, we can do this again, and that way you can see. Ha! What the mosaic is your birthday present, or just seeing this? Oh my gosh, it's in a couple days. That's gonna be 50. That's crazy. All right, I guess that's it. See you later.